Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge, and welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. Today, I'm in a Biggie kind of mood. I don't have a Lansing made T-shirt on, but can't fault me for wanting to listen to Biggie all day. So I'm in the sanctuary today. We've been really starting to move things around. We're getting ready to do some events here pretty soon. And move the food stand. Going to set up some solar next couple of weeks. We are very excited. And check us out on TikTok. Katie's helping me step up our game. So shout out to Power and Passion and everything she's doing to help ex-offenders and returning citizens. Today on the show, it is our great friend David. How you doing today, David?
I'm doing great today. The weather's a little rough, but it's a great, beautiful day like any other day.
I'm excited for you to tell people where you are, because this is definitely a first and definitely going to be a rare NFT if we NFT these shows.
So right now, I bought a boat over in Fairport Harbor, and I'm currently making a passage from Fairport Harbor all the way to Detroit, Michigan, across Lake Erie. It's about a 150 nautical mile trip. I'm about 80 nautical miles through the trip. I got about 60, 70 left to go. I'm currently in Sandusky, Ohio, in the harbor. Me and my friend Ivan decided we're not going to set out today because we have gale force winds in the area, and we're both pretty green sailors. So we figured it'll be best to wait a day when the seas settle down a little, because it's pretty rough out there. We're in the harbor behind some seawalls in a marina, and we're still rocking like pretty good here. Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Hey,
yeah, we got Cedar Point in the view too.
Yeah, let's see that. Or can you see it? Or
I can see it. I don't know if the camera will be able to pick it up. Actually, I don't know if I can see it. You don't look at my boat. Right around the building there. If I walked out to over here, you can see Cedar Point just perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's beautiful out here. But you can probably hear the wind coming through my mic now.
Yeah,
it's pretty windy.
It was worth it. Thank you so much. It's gorgeous out there. So one thing I was going to say, I think so we lost contact. I believe he will come back in. He has the wherewithal to do that. So what I was going to say to him, though, is he's got a gentleman named Ivan on the boat with them, and Ivan is the person that made the head that cranks in the downtown area and has done the art project out by the airport and all of that. So, like I said, David's super smart, and we'll pop back in 1 minute. So,
Sorry about that. I accidentally swiped my app closed. What was your question?
Oh, I was going to say, if we talked about Ivan for a few times and said his name a couple times, maybe it would somehow magically make him come on the show.
So yeah, he's like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, something like that. So when we fell off air for a second, I just talked about Ivan and him making that head that cranks and all of that. So let's talk about you for a little bit. Where were you born and raised, and go to school, and what do you do, and what brought you to this point?
I'll start off with what I do as my day job right now. Currently, I'm a DevOps engineer at Two Men in a Truck. I've been there for 6 months, and previously I was at Jackson National Life for a year, and both wonderful employers, in my opinion. But the journey to there was actually quite not traditional. So I'm from Ovid-Elsie. When I was in Ovid-Elsie, I grew up there, small town, cows, if you know Ovid or Elsie. Let's not talk about that. It's bringing back the smell already. But from there, I went to school. I actually dropped out of high school. And later in life, I started getting the itch in my side saying, I need to do something with my life. So I started to pursue my GED. After I got my GED, I still didn't feel like that qualified me for any new job really, or anything that I had before. I was working retail, fast food, farms, you name it. I probably did it, construction. And then I got this itch that I could program. I've been doing it since I've been 13. I just never thought I could do it professionally. I never got training. I was always hacking my games, writing little small applications to help me on my computer. So I decided to go to college. I went to like a trimester of college and took as many programming courses as I could and found out, hey, I know this stuff. I was helping my teacher with the other students. It all came naturally to me. And that's when I decided I was going to actually just pursue a career without the college degree, just see if anybody will hire me. And I got an opportunity at a small company, WDA, in East Lansing, Michigan. They're called the Wireless Developer Association or Agency. Sorry. And they did a lot of stuff there. They made mobile apps. We did ad tracking and all sorts of stuff. And my main role there was with the mobile offerings with ad tracking. But they gave me an entry-level job at, an hourly rate. It was $11 an hour. But I was beyond myself to be doing something I wanted to do with my life. And from there, I mean, it just took off. I stuck with that company for 6 years. I rose up the ranks. I left the company after 6 years and took a summer off. I was actually living remotely in my RV. I was traveling across the U.S. in my RV for probably the year before I left. And, I left and just took a whole summer off, enjoyed life a little bit, and then got back into the game. And that's about where we're at now. But it's been a journey, and it's not traditional, and it was weird to see people accepting me and my intelligence without that piece of paper, for taking me for who I was. If you know me, I haven't always been super personable. I've had bad teeth. I wasn't somebody that was very confident in going into those situations, and to allow somebody to just listen to me and understand that I am able to complete that job. It was quite an interesting journey.
Yeah.
And very eye-opening.
I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about my software companies that I had before, but I always say that my best developers were the guys that dropped out of high school to just teach themselves, and they couldn't stand school for some reason. It just didn't work for them. And that mindset, I think, makes high school so difficult for some people that are really genius. I'm calling you genius, by the way.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I totally agree with that. Like, I've heard, I'm a big supporter of Elon Musk. He actually has a school program where they actually have a small class, and they take them on field trips. They have all the grades in one. So the older kids are teaching the younger, and they get focused on what they're interested in. And that's a big thing about learning. I wasn't interested in history. I wasn't interested in mathematics. What I excelled in was science and computers, and they didn't have offerings for that. And, being able to get focused on that and allowing people to focus on what they want to focus on and what they're enthusiastic about, you're going to get people that work well. And same with Elon Musk. He doesn't care if you have a college degree or not. He wants you to apply. If you're passionate about working on rockets or your software, he wants that kind of talent. He doesn't want the book smart people. He wants the people that are passionate and will take the extra mile to learn it no matter what it takes or figure it out. And I really admire that about that kind of philosophy in learning.
Yeah, I aspire to be something like that. I always call the Fledge a one-room schoolhouse, and I think that model of mixing the grades all together is super important. Very, very important. So let's talk about your projects, Boats and Goats, and whatever else you got going on.
So Boats and Goats, the name's a little misleading right now. I'm actually a micro batch manufacturer at the time. By that, what I mean is I use my 3D printers to do small batches for any client. I've made stuff for growing stuff in your garden to miniatures to usable parts for, housing for electronics and stuff. So I can do a broad spectrum of stuff, and I use CAM, computer aided manufacturing, similar to CAD, but it's more towards the tool pathing for how you would operate a CNC. My long-term goal is to make boats. Boats. My hands are up. You can't see it, but boats like I'm on right now. I fell in love with boats last year. I started day sailing, and I wanted to start a company. I seen that starting a company was a way to financial freedom and to allow me to pursue my passion. I'm a computer geek. The CAM allows me to do that. I get to do 3D modeling. I get to make software to help me manage my products, inventory, and stuff like that. So there's still the computer component to it, but I'm a creator. I love creating things, and that's part of the drive that I have with software is that even though it's a virtual thing, I'm still creating. But I'm trying to move that to a physical realm now and be able to use those technologies to be able to rapidly prototype small form factor boats. I want to make canoes, kayaks, and small catamaran or trimaran type sailboats, like a hybrid kayak with outlying pontoons, where you could raise a sail and go out on a lake. I want to make them out of wood, but with the current prices and stuff, I've been actually looking at making molds and doing fiberglass. But with the cam, I wanted to be able to rapidly prototype those. So, I could use a 3D printer to print a mold. I plan on building a larger scale 3D printer and a large scale CNC machine. I'm not there yet. And how I'm trying to run my business is incrementally. So right now I have a few 3D printers and I'm doing micro batch. Those are profitable. Well, not, I haven't covered their purchase costs yet, but they're generating actual revenue for me. And once I can raise that capital, I'm going to start getting those bigger machines and taking on those larger products as well. I'm new at this. I'm learning as I go. So it's a journey, and I'm learning how to make better products. I'm learning how to manage my inventory better, how to manage my customers. And there's so much to learn. And I'm just trying to take it slow and make incremental changes and strides to my business plan, because I can't do everything at once. I can't just know everything. So take it slow. There's no rush.
When you do software development, do you use agile techniques like extreme programming or whatever, scrums and all that?
It depends on what scenario we're working in. We do use agile, we use scrum, we use waterfall. It depends on the team and or who I'm working with. A lot of the time, what we end up drawing on is a hybrid solution. Because what we want is something that works with a team. Like agile is great. You got a small team. Agile is not helping anybody. In a lot of cases where you have one guy working on a project, and that's where some projects lag. And then, waterfall might work better for that, because then there might be another team that depends on something, and the waterfall methodology works. So the way we've worked with it, in my experiences, is we always get a consensus from whatever team we're working with and how we want to operate. Because if somebody's not happy with how we operate, I mean, they're likely going to be the underperformer. Not saying that they're going to be the underperformer, but there's going to be breakdowns in performance, and we're not going to get those benefits we really wanted, and it's going to be a headache for developers, and I hate headaches.
Well, I was asking because you're using the lean kind of startup methodology too.
Yep.
So do you think that software development is helping? Do you think the same way a little bit in building your business? Try what works and go with what works?
I never thought actually about applying a methodology, or that I had applied a methodology to how I'm doing this, but I guess it just comes as first nature to me now, to incrementally do things and make small improvements. You can't pole vault you can't get the Guinness World Book of Records in your first try. It's going to take 100 tries. And I never really thought about it that way, but I guess I am. I guess I am using the lean and agile methodologies to an extent, because, I'm constantly iterating and improving. Yeah.
So that guy behind you holds the Guinness World Records for the tallest bass sculpture?
No, he does not. I asked him about it, and he said there's actually not a category for it. They spotted you on camera, Ivan. Yeah.
So goats. What's that? What is the goats part?
So it's boats and goats. The goats was inspired by a friend, but it's kind of a play on the fucking Catalina wine mixer from the movie Step Brothers, boats and hoes. I'm like, boats, and what else could go with that? I wanted it to be funny and punny. I wanted something that people might remember and go, what's that mean? So I wanted it to be memorable, but I love goats too. So I thought that would be something good to use. But when I really broke it down and thought about what does this mean, goats is an acronym for greatest of all time, or GOAT is.
Yeah.
And then goats, if you think about them, they're sturdy creatures. They're resilient, like they're strong, like, and they produce. Like if you're into milk, I would rather have a goat than a cow. They're just easier to manage. They give off a good amount of milk. I just thought why not? It's funny. It has some meaning to me. And yeah, I just thought it was a great name.
Yeah, I put boats, hoes, and Oreos on our Facebook page once, and nobody liked that.
Oh no. Well, hopefully they like my company.
Boats and goats, I think, is a great play on that. And I was super shocked when you said Catalina wine mixer.
Well, I'm on a boat, so.
And I actually knew what you meant. Boats and goats worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you do every damn day to push your mission forward?
I guess I wake up. That's how I start my day every day. You know, it's hard to keep the business moving forward every day. I don't have a huge public presence, so I don't have a lot of people coming to me for work. So I guess what I do every day is just wake up and try to get some orders in. I haven't really been pushing too hard on it. I've been really busy with this job and, you know, trying to move this boat. So it's been a little slow, but I'm actually getting to the point where I want to start soliciting myself or my company's products and letting people know I exist. And that's partially why I came on this show. I want to let people know what I do. I don't do goats. I got asked if I rented goats yesterday. I appreciate it. I love if I could rent goats, but no, I don't rent goats. But I helped refer her to hopefully somebody that could rent her some goats that they use for clearing like state forest areas and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just wake up and do the best I can every day, whether I'm working on my company or just working on my boat or anything. It's just put your best forward. Don't let the bad things get you down. I try to be a pretty positive person. Like I almost got in an accident the other day. Coming back from Sandusky when I came back to Michigan for a few days. And, you know, she cut me off. I had to swerve. What I did, I smiled and waved. I was just happy nobody was hurt. You know, It's taking those kind of things instead of getting frustrated and shaking your fist. It's trying to think about what good came of it. Nobody got hurt. You know, we're both alive. We both had a scare. Accidents happen. Why not be kosher about it, you know?
Yeah. Hey, I want to go back to the orders part, but I love what you kindness and compassion, it's so contagious. It's the best and easiest and simplest way to go. And it makes everybody feel a lot better. And I don't see why we don't pick it so more naturally. But thank you for saying that. But back to the orders for a second. So I literally have someone on the porch waiting to talk to me, and they want to know the phone number of someone who can 3D print around here. And so what's your customer look like? Like what types of jobs are you doing or are you interested in doing, so we can make sure we can speak to those people a little?
So I can, what I can do is anything you find on Thingiverse, I can print it as a personal project. It's going to be yours. You'd submit an order to me, and I'll charge you for the print time and the filament cost. And then I do have a few products. I've designed my own version of a low stress trainer, is what it's called. I'll be honest, it's generally used for marijuana plants, for helping them train their plants so they can grow out instead of up. Instead of using something called a scrognet. I've got super good feedback on those. And you can use them for any gardening thing. It's just, those have been my largest clients. I've made thousands of units of those. And then my second biggest thing right now is miniatures for D&D. They're about that big and they're highly detailed. And people love painting these things. And the customer I have Tim from Aardvark. He's actually turning into quite a big customer. Aardvark Tattoo in St. John's. Yeah. He paints miniatures, and he is super excited about it because he said he usually has to order from Germany or China, and it's not a big deal. But he says he eats the price in shipping. It's $25 for shipping for, you know, this huge collection, and then it takes 2 months to get through customs. I was able to print them and have them to him the next day. Because, you know, I'm local. I can ship moderately locally, so I can ship out fast. Yeah. And he told me my prices were like super cheap. I thought I was charging too much, to be honest, but he's like, no, this is perfect. Like, he asked for a quote. I gave him a quote. He's like, 5 miniatures for $18. He was beyond himself. Because he usually goes and spends $200-300 on a batch from China, gets like 50 figures sent to him, and they're like $5 a piece at that price, and then he's got shipping on top of that. And I actually beat that price and beat the shipping times and rate. So that was a quite unique way to reach to have a customer and to a selling point for my business.
It excites me to think about, what manufacturing can look like if we could decentralize some of it or most of it or any of it. And I just love what you're doing for that reason, because of, how do you assess the environmental impact, for example, of those things coming from China versus what you're doing?
There's a lot more that comes into it. China has a pollution problem all by itself already, and they're pretty lax on their pollution regulations. So I could see, even if you are getting a product, the material I work with is toxic for my resin printer. I could see them just disposing of it inappropriately over there. So there's an environmental impact there, and I'm trying to do my best efforts to make sure I take care of my resin. So any resin that I have left over, I cure it, because once it's cured, it's non-toxic anymore. So even in my wash tank, I'll put my wash tank out in the sun or against my UV light to cure all the little elements in there, and then I'll strain them out. And I use a water-soluble resin at the current time, but that's one of the things I do to help try to clean up my act. And then the shipping costs, and the fuel and all this other stuff add up as where I can just get it to you fast. And, we reduce that footprint by going through me. And that's what I would have to say about the environmental impact on what I do. And most of the plastics I use for my FDM printer, those are all naturally sourced sugar plastics. So they're not from oil. So I try to use products that I can be behind and not have to worry, because one of the things I looked at when I was starting a company, especially when you add that word manufacturing, is the legalities around disposal, what you have to do, MSDS sheets for your toxic chemicals and all this. And it became kind of overwhelming for me. So I just thought I'm going to try shooting for the safest things I can use, the things that are going to be least environmentally impacting, to help negate my costs of trying to get those disposal techniques in place, and just to simplify my business and give us something good to say about our company. We're green. And I do love being green.
You know what else I love about what you're doing? See, I'm not a big fan of Amazon. I don't know if you've ever heard any of my rants, but I would love us to stop using Amazon. However, I still use Amazon, and everybody still uses Amazon, though we would like to quit using Amazon, but you just can't beat some of the prices, or you can't actually get an Arduino that's made on the east side of Lansing, so you end up using this anyways, but at least you're taking a small nibble out of it. I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I really don't want to compete with Amazon.
Well, I'm not saying it that way. I'm just saying that as people are able to build things locally, manufacture things locally, and the option becomes available to them, we can take a little piece away from that and keep some of our money here in our community, paying you to do it instead of, giving part of it to the richest man in the world.
Yeah, and a lot of the products that I can create, if you ever check out Thingiverse, there is so many products that are just useful. Toilet paper extenders. Like, I never thought that might be something useful, but you get those bigger rolls of toilet paper, you can't fit them on your roll anymore. You can print out these little things in 20 minutes and not have to worry about it. There's a lot of cool little things that you can build that make your life a little bit easier, and they're really accessible to get to and produce nowadays.
Yeah, I like what you're doing. So we daisy chained the shows together, and I had a friend of ours from Great Britain on yesterday named Jace, and he has a question for me to pass to you. And the question is, if you could grow anything, what would you grow and why?
So I think I would grow hemp. We have a wood problem right now. If you guys didn't know, wood prices are up. Yeah. We have a carbon emission problem right now that we're polluting way more than we're absorbing, or the Earth's absorbing, in the oceans and in the forest. And I think hemp is a great product. I've always been a firm believer of hemp-based products. I really wanted to make my own hempcrete house when I bought property down in Texas because it has some unique properties. It's an insulator. Like hempcrete itself, it's moisture resistant. It's like mold resistant. It absorbs carbon 4 times faster than growing trees because it grows 4 times faster than trees. You can produce paper products off of it, fabric products. You can make edible products off of it. I'm not talking about marijuana edible products either. I'm talking about, nuts and berries in your granola bar and stuff like that. But it's a highly useful product. And I think, I wish more farmers would grow hemp. I wish we would use more hemp-based products. We went with the whole plastic paper straw thing. Hemp straws. They're biodegradable. They're cheaper to manufacture. We're not using paper where the trees are, and we're helping cutting the carbon footprint by absorbing that carbon into these plants and then, reusing that carbon in different ways.
Is it still required that you get a license or something to try to grow hemp right now?
I believe so. I do have a farmer friend that's been evaluating it for a few years. I don't think he's bought in yet. But I do think you have to get a special license. But for a farmer, it's not a big deal. It's probably $1,000 license, and then you can grow 400 acres of it. And as far as pricing goes to a farmer, a licensing fee of $1,000 is kind of small potatoes. But for like an entry-level person, like for me to grow it, and let's say I wanted to grow a 1 acre garden, it might be steep for me to be able to grow it and manufacture my own hemp. Unfortunately, and hemp and marijuana are very closely related. I don't know if they might crossbreed, and that might taint your hemp. And as far as the regulation goes,
how do you get hemp seeds?
Hemp seeds are actually pretty readily available for order online. I believe you can. I'm going to say get them right off of Amazon. Hemp isn't really illegal. It's not marijuana like everybody might be thinking. It's a related plant, but it doesn't have that THC and CBD in it.
I think we're doing a good job educating people in that, and I am very, very pro hemp because all the reasons you listed.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the show, we have a young lady named Cassandra, and she teaches creative classes, Cassandra's creative classes. Okay. What question would you like to ask her?
I would probably ask her, what's her fire? What's her drive that keeps her going every day and keeps her moving forward with her passion or what she's pursuing? I want to know what drives her,
Yeah. I think she's going to love that question. What drives you? What's your fire?
Freedom, adventure. I'm seeing, I want to start a business to give myself financial freedom, a little bit of security. I know it doesn't start fast. It's not an overnight thing. It's something you have to work for. But that's what's driving me. As you see, I'm on a boat right now. I'm making a passage. My friends are calling me crazy. That's just part of life. I want to live it. And I find starting a business is going to be one way to help me live it. And it's something I enjoy doing. I couldn't, like, if I wanted to start doing this at a job, I don't know anybody in the area that would be hiring somebody with my skill set for doing what my business is planning on doing. There's other people that 3D print, but they probably don't need anybody. And I'm making the opportunity for myself. Yeah. So I guess my part of my drive is to make my own opportunities for what I want in life and not wait around for somebody to provide me that opportunity.
Yeah. I like that. Build your own future strategy. Make your own job. Make your own everything. Happiness, sadness, joy, or hope. What word would you like to talk about with me?
I think I'm going to go with hope, just like everybody else. You got to be hopeful in your future. Nothing's set in stone. Joy and happiness, they come with sadness and sorrow. There's always an opposite to them, but hope hope is that even when you have sadness and sorrow, that the joy and happiness is going to come back. And, I'm a hopeful, positive person. And I try to look at the bright side of everything. And I think hope is the driver for that. You got to have hope that even though you had a bad day, tomorrow's not going to be so bad.
Yeah. They find that optimism is a shared trait across all entrepreneurs in most cases. So keep it up. Hope is the last to die. Thank you so very much for taking time out of your day and out of your trip. And I hope that things get smooth for you and you're able to take off soon or whenever you want, I guess. Yep. And very interesting. I love what you're doing. I shared your Facebook page here, and we'll be talking because I think there's a lot of people that would be interested in your services. So,
all right. Like I said, I'm going to be soliciting that pretty soon. So look out for my phone number. You said somebody wanted that. I'll be posting a phone number today for you. And okay. Yeah, I'll try getting some resources up so people can see what I do and what I've done.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for being on the show. Everybody, we'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Cassandra every damn day. This was show 260. We've got about 105 left to do, and about 27 of those slots are taken. So 80 slots left if you want to get on every damn day. Take us out with something, David.
Well, I wasn't expecting that so much. I mean, just live your dream, be passionate about what you do, and just keep moving forward. If you're going through a hard time, it's going to get better. Have hope.
All right. When that's taken.